Talk Chicago. Jon Zaghloul will be a back end ready for today's special guest. He's a Super Bowl champion, college football Hall of Famer, and the co-founder of Revenant. Please welcome Jim McMahon to the program. Jim, great to have you on. How are you?
Hey, thanks a lot, John. Good to be here.
What is Revenant for those who don't know? I know that's something that you've been founding and it's been getting going here for a while now.
Well, it's our brand of cannabis that myself and a couple former ball players, Kyle Turley and Eben Britton, are a part of. We launched our brand 2 years ago outside of San Diego. We just launched here in Arizona last month, and looking forward to hopefully coming to Illinois soon.
How'd you start it? Where'd the idea come from?
Well, I've been trying to get in the business for quite a few years out here in Arizona, but I've a lot of shady characters in this business, like any other, I guess. But finally got it partnered up with Kyle and Eben, and we have, similar interest and what this plant has done for us, and that's why we started the brand, and hopefully people will enjoy it.
What's it done for you post-playing career?
It's kept me sane, for one. I had to get off all the painkillers I was eating all those years. I was eating them for 7 years after I retired. I was living in a fog, and I feel, my body feels a hell of a lot better now. So does my head. So I had to take a pain pill 10 months ago. I had ankle surgery and tried to get through it without it, but it got infected and got ugly. So I had to take a couple pain pills, but those are the first ones I've taken in 20 something years now, or almost 20 years. Yeah.
Wow. So cannabis has replaced all those pain pills and you felt better because of it, huh?
No doubt about it.
Do you think other players could benefit from this, either retired guys or even current players right now?
Well, right now we're trying to get the NFL to get rid of the rules about cannabis. The government has had a patent on cannabis for over 100 years, and it as a neuroprotectant. And so, if anybody needs neuroprotectant, it's football players. And so, they should be able to at least use this rather than all the opioids that they get fed every day from the clubs. So it's a hell of a lot better for them, and it's not addictive as people keep saying it is. And like opioids have proven to be addictive, proven to kill people. Cannabis hasn't killed anybody. So it's definitely a better alternative than what they're using now.
What's your long-term goal for the company moving forward?
Well, we just want to keep, promoting it, get rid of the stigma. A lot of it's gone, but there's still a lot of it out there. There's still a lot of people that have no idea what this plant can do. It's a medicinal herb. It's not a drug. When man puts his hands on it and starts adding chemicals, those are drugs, right? If you just chewed on the coca leaves, you wouldn't have a cocaine problem. You'd have a lot of energy. But it's all the chemicals that man puts into it. That's what makes drugs.
Jim McMahon here on Sports Talk Chicago. Jim, what do you make of the Bears at this point?
I don't even know how they're doing. I know they won their opener. Did they win? Didn't they play the Packers the other day?
Yeah, they lost on Sunday.
I've been traveling. I've been at different charity events. I haven't really kept up with the NFL.
Have you seen Justin Fields play at all, at least? The rookie or the second-year quarterback now?
I've seen him play maybe a series, which is not enough to make any judgments. I just know he's a talented kid. He played at a big-time program at Ohio State, had success there, so I don't see him not having success where he's at now.
What's the key to being a good NFL quarterback? I mean, you're one of them. How'd you do it?
The 5 people up front are always the key to any quarterback. If you don't have 5 guys up front willing to fight for you, it doesn't really matter who anybody else is. So as long as he's got those guys up front, there's always talent. You can always find talent at wide receivers and running backs and stuff like that. It's tough to find the 5 guys up front that you need.
If you played in the NFL today, would you be better than you were back in the 80s and 90s?
Well, statistically, yes, because they get to throw the ball now. Back then, I had just coming out of college. I got to throw it all the time, and I get to Chicago where we get to throw it on third and long, maybe. So it was very frustrating back then. But nowadays, it's pretty wide open. It's what I was used to in college. We were doing that back in the late '70s. So it'd be a lot of fun now. And plus, they're not supposed to hit you either, so might be able to last a year.
I was going to say, do you think the NFL's gotten a little bit softer, obviously, since you played?
Well, the rules have changed quite a bit. I mean, you understand why they're changing them, but it really does affect the game. It affects how people play. As a QB, it's kind of nice knowing you can step into a throw and not have your knees taken out or your head or anything else. So, I wouldn't even know what to do.
What's the hardest hit that you remember taking in the NFL?
Oh boy. Oh, there was so many of them. It's hard to remember. And I remember one in particular. I was playing for the Eagles, and I got hit by Freddie Joe Nunn. He was linebacker for the Cardinals. My right tackle whiffed again, and I got a helmet right in the chest, and never even really saw him because I took the ball. I took 3 steps. I was looking straight ahead, and I got hit dead in my chest. And that's the one I can remember that hurt.
How does it feel to be a part of the last Super Bowl winning team here in Chicago, Jim?
Well, the only Super Bowl winning team in Chicago. It's not just the last one.
First
But
and the last.
we're still living in the past. But it was a great time to be in Chicago. We had a good football team for a good 5-year stretch there. We lost 2 NFC championships games in that run, so we had our chances to win a few more, but unfortunately, we didn't play well at home in the playoffs.
If you had stayed healthy in 1986, would you have won again the Super Bowl?
I'd like to believe we would have. Yes, we had our chance. Well, like I said, we didn't play well in the playoffs. We worked all year to get home field advantage, and then we just pissed it away. Teams came in there. We thought they'd lay down in the cold weather, and they were more ready to play than we were.
What do you think went wrong overall in the playoffs? Why didn't you guys play with that same energy that you had during the regular season?
Well, for one, I think we were tired. When you practice the way we practiced for 7 years I was there, every day in pads, beating the crap out of each other, everything's live. And then you get run to death. I mean, that takes its toll after a while. And I really think that we were tired towards the end of the seasons because that's what we did all year long. We beat the crap out of each other every day. And, it was like 4 games a week. And so, that and the fact that we weren't the same team in 87 and 88 that we were in 85 and 6. Key guys, and then, we just weren't the same team.
Is there a benefit to practicing like that today? I mean, no teams do it anymore. Very few teams even have pads during practice. Was there any benefit that you saw to having that sort of hardcore practice regimen?
No, and I'd never liked practice anyway. And to have to practice like you're playing a game was kind of ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, we're all professionals. You know what to do to get yourself ready to play a game, to be in shape and stuff like that. So it's. But that's the way it was back then. It wasn't just Mike Ditka and Buddy Ryan. Bill Parcells was like that. Coughlin was like that. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. Now that all these rules have changed, the players union complained, oh, we can't practice, we can't do this and that. So, they're getting their way. I think that's why a lot of these guys now that get a little nicked up, they have a hard time coming back because they're not used to dealing with it, on a daily basis. But I'm just glad I'm not in it anymore.
What made you so tough as a quarterback? I mean, you were hit so many times in your career. You had sustained so many injuries. What made you keep coming back?
Oh, it's amazing what painkillers will do. Marcaine, xylocaine, any cane brother, that's going to numb some part of your body so you can play. That's what kept me playing. And the fact that I love to play. I mean, shit, I hated missing Sundays. Had I got to miss a couple of days of practice, I might have been, a lot better on a Sunday. But when you're having to try to fight through an injury all week long and then to play another game, it does take its toll.
Why haven't the Bears won a Super Bowl since 1985?
They haven't been that good. I really don't know. I don't. Like I said, I don't follow the game much. I got a lot of other things on my mind than watching football games. So I try to keep up with my friends that are still coaching. That's about all I do. Check the ESPN scoreboard or whatever they call it, just to see how my guys did. Ron Rivera is still coaching in the league. Leslie Frazier, Andy Reid's doing a hell of a job in Kansas City. I just see how those guys are doing. But I can't sit and watch a game.
Why not?
It bores me. I like playing the game. I didn't like playing when I was hurt or watching when I was hurt. I just don't. I like playing. You can't play, might as well not even be around it.
Who was your go-to wide receiver from the '85 Bears team, or during your time here in Chicago?
Oh hell, well, anytime I got to throw, I didn't care who caught it. You know, I could always count on Dennis McKinnon. Silky D was always, where he was supposed to be. Emery Moorhead was a good tight end, along with Tim Reitman. Dennis Gentry was a hell of a third down back. I mean, hell, he should have been on the field more, in my opinion. But yeah, we had a lot of talent. Well, of course, Willie could outrun the world. So yeah, we had a lot of talent that we could spread around. But old Mike, he liked to just run that ball.
Sounds like that was a point of contention for you and Mike Ditka. Huh? I mean, you mentioned it a couple of times during the interview already.
Well, like I said, it was a very boring offense to me. I was used to, I was taught, if I see something that I could exploit, to do it. And the times that I did do that, I got reprimanded or yelled at or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I try whatever I could do to get to throw the ball every once in a while. I try to do it.
What's the most heated conversation you had with Coach Ditka about throwing when you shouldn't have or not following the offensive pattern?
It was 7 years of those. They were all the same.
What was it like? Like, take me inside one of those conversations, if you're able to.
Is this a family show or is this a...
You can say whatever you'd like. Anything.
There was a lot of yelling and cursing and pretty much every day. Even sometimes in practice it would happen. But yeah, I was out there to win games. Mike always thought I was doing things to make him mad or piss him off for some reason. And I just said, look, you're a tight end. That's how you call plays, like a tight end. You have no idea how to set something up. Just, put the guys in you want, leave me alone, and we're going to be fine. But he liked to be, he wanted to be in control of pretty much everything.
How do you feel about that today when you look back on that whole situation and relationship with Coach Ditka?
Well, we get along great now. I mean, it's, I think he finally realized that, I actually knew what I was doing. Maybe at the time I didn't express it the way, he wanted me to, but like I said, it didn't bother me if he was mad at me or yelled at me. My job was to win ball games. We won a lot more than we lost. That's all I know.
How important is it, based on your experience, to have a coach who's willing to cater to a quarterback in the NFL?
No, I don't see that happening anywhere. I mean, most of these coaches want to be, they want to be front and center. And a lot of these QBs will go along with it. And then they'll have to say at the end of the game, well, the coach called the play. The coach did this. There's no blame anywhere. I mean, I don't see anybody with balls that say, yeah, I called it. It worked or it didn't. But I was willing to take that chance.
A lot of people here in Chicago equated that with Matt Nagy and Justin Fields, and Matt Nagy, Mitch Trubisky, how it was all him. He didn't really cater to quarterbacks. Do you feel the same way when you watch some of those games?
I didn't watch any of those games.
None of them?
No, I mean, the coach can only do so much. I mean, you work all week, you get a game plan, right? And sometimes your game plan ain't working. Sometimes you got to do other things, and they get so locked in. Oh, they do this, they do that. Well, I don't care what they did. What are they doing right now? That's, you got to live in the now, not the, let's hope they're playing this coverage.
Is there a time that you could remember where you totally defied Coach Ditka and it turned out to be right? You called an audible, you called something off script, and you were right and he was wrong.
Many times. Many times.
How did he react to that?
Not well, usually. I mean, the first play in that Minnesota game on that Thursday night, I actually called the play he gave me. It was a screen pass, and as I came away from the line of scrimmage, I saw blitz, and I almost fell on my face, all the painkillers I had in me. And so when I planted my foot, I just happened to look downfield, and Willie was 10 yards past his guy. He was just doing his job, run his guy deep. So I just threw it to him. And because I knowing the line didn't have enough time to be downfield already. I mean, everything had happened like that. So I threw it to him. We score. I get to the sideline. He about rips my head off, shaking me around. What play did you call? And I said, I called the screen, Mike. Well, why'd you throw it to him? I said, well, he was open. We scored. What the hell's the problem? But that's when I actually called the play. I remember the NFC Championship game, the ball touchdown I hit Willie Galton. I think it was a second down, second long or whatever it was. And he had sent in this play that I didn't call, and turned out my call was right. And he got in my face about that. Well, where'd you get that play? And I said, well, we've been practicing that play. That's in the game plan. I didn't just pull it out of my ass. It was there. And the other coaches came up to me and said, hey, great call. Because the call I made, I mean, it was a very, very easy play. I said, because I told Willie in the huddle, I said, Willie, if that cornerback makes any move to your post move, I'm throwing this ball to you. Because he can't beat you back to the corner. And when I came out, I had the running back right there in front of me. Could have had a 2 or 3 yard gain or whatever, and the tight end was coming across as well. But then when I came around the side and I saw that corner make one step, I knew where I was going with the ball, and we scored. And everybody was happy with Mike.
The head coach is the one who isn't happy, and he's the one coaching you guys. He's the only one.
And I didn't call that damn running play or whatever he said that.
You were known to be a rebel throughout your NFL career. Did that start with defying Ditka, or how did that personality and that sort of perception kind of come up?
It's you guys in the media. I hadn't changed. I did what I always did and said what I always thought. And some people agreed with it. Some people didn't like it. I didn't. I've never lived my life worrying about what other people thought. The majority of them don't know me anyway, so I could care less. I'm not going to, take criticism from somebody I wouldn't even take advice from. So why let it worry me?
If you were in more control, do you think the Bears would have been a better team? Like, you would have had better stats, but I assume you guys would have won more games too if you'd maybe more control over the offense.
Well, we still won quite a few games.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, I don't know how many games it took Mike to get his 100th win, but it was pretty quick. And we won a lot of football games after 82 and 83. We stunk then, but from 84 to 88, we were pretty solid.
Jim McMahon still here on Sports Talk Chicago. Jim, a few more questions before we finish up. What's the funniest moment you've had with some of your teammates on that Bears team?
Oh boy, we had a lot of fun times. I can't remember. I can't think of one particular one. Well, it was funny to us. It might not have been funny to people at the funeral, but we went to Papa Bear's funeral in 1983. It was a big church downtown. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember it was a big line, and we're all filing in, and there was a homeless guy. I guess he thought it was like a soup line or something. He got in the line, and he was actually sitting in the pew right in front of me and a couple teammates. So we had a lot of fun with that guy during the funeral, but that was just kind of a funny thing to us. We're like, where this guy? Who's this guy part of? And then this guy was just like looking around, like, where's the soup? But yeah, that was kind of a funny moment.
How much did you hate Pete Rozelle on a scale of 1 to 10?
I didn't hate Pete at all. I thought Pete Rozelle, grew this league to where it is today. I mean, if it wasn't for Pete Rozelle, the NFL probably wouldn't even be around anymore. But he did a hell of a job as a commissioner. He just he took his liberties with me, and that's what got me upset. It wasn't my fault that Adidas wasn't paying the NFL. I'd been wearing Adidas since I got in the league, and all of a sudden, 4 years later, it's a big deal. And he made a big stink about it, fined me. And I shouldn't have been able to be fined. I probably could have got it back in a lawsuit. But lawyers would have cost me more than what he fined me. So, I ended up making my point. I had my Rozelle band. It didn't get a fine that week. I made my money in the Super Bowl that, Adidas was willing to pay me. I said, I'm not going to wear it on my head, but you'll be able to see it. And I pulled it around my neck, and they saw it in every picture. They were very happy. I got my check from Adidas. Didn't get a fine because I wore all charities. Had they fined me for wearing charities, they would look like idiots. So I said, see, man, you made a big point about this. It was nothing. I've been wearing a headband since I got in this league, and now all of a sudden it's a big deal because they said I was giving Adidas free advertising. I said, I'm not the one zooming in on my shoes or my headband. You guys are. So the next year they had a few extra rules in there, but I made my point.
I'd read that Pete Rozelle actually thought it was funny, but he still kept the fine on you. That's what reports had said.
Well, the fine, I got fined for the first week, yeah, but
Right.
he didn't, I did have to pay the fine. Chicago wouldn't pay it. So. And I couldn't afford, 5, 10 grand, whatever it was at that time. So didn't get any more from him.
And Jim, before we finish up today, last question. What's something no one knows about you?
Probably nothing. My life's pretty open book. So
Anything from your playing career or afterwards that we don't know that you haven't told about or talked about?
Oh boy, I don't think there's anything anybody hasn't asked me. So I couldn't tell you.
Well, I do appreciate your time. Really appreciate you coming on with me and talking. Best wishes, of course, to your new company, and looking forward to seeing it debut here in Chicago. And thanks for being a legendary Bear for sure. We all appreciate still what you've done here in Chicago and being the only Super Bowl winning quarterback in Bears history. It's certainly something, and appreciate the time.
Hey, my pleasure, John. Take care. See you guys later.